We didn't adopt them, they adopted us because they loved us so much, we love them also. And so it's been a real blessing there. I've paid taxes on the same piece of property here since 1995. I've had the same county tag, 62 county tag since 1990 on my vehicles. I'm consistent, I'm here. This is my home. There's many places I could choose to live and have a business, and this is where we chose to live and have a business. As a child, I'd come over here to Lake Martin and we'd go on the lake fishing and camping and just enjoy the beautiful area over here. And thankfully, we had the opportunity in 1990 to move here full time. And thankful for that, I met my beautiful wife, who's a local resident here. She grew up here. And I tell everybody that she married me because I wasn't related to her, because she's related to the whole county. But it's been a blessing and an opportunity to run for county commissioner. What made me decide I want to run for county commissioner? Well, I'm still trying to figure that out a lot of days too. But I've always been a person who wanted to help out. I always felt like I could help others and be there for others. And in the county commission position, you deal with a lot of people who are needing help. Their roads are bad, they're wanting better jobs in the area, they're wanting to have somebody to listen to their cares and their concerns. And hey, I'm gonna listen. I'm also a big talker, but I'm also a listener too. So I'm available. I have a business right in town, so people can pull it up and say, hey Rod, we need to talk to you about this. Or contact me by the cell phone. Say, hey Rod, I need to talk to you about this. And hey, I'm transparent, I'm honest. I'm not going to blow smoke. I'm not going to tell you something. I'm not going to make promises to you, knowing that I can't keep promises. A fellow told me that I did not need to run for political office because I was a pastor. And I said, well, what's that got to do? He said, well, you'll have to lie. You don't have to be deceitful to be in politics. I said, we set the standard way too low on integrity. The integrity level for a politician should be way up here, not in the gutter. I tell you, I'm that guy that's going to be honest with you, even when it hurts your feelings. But don't hold that against me, because that's just who I am. God bless.
My name is Danny Robinson. I'm running the Tallapoosa County Commission District 4. I've been in Tallapoosa County all my life. I have a place out in Buston, been out there now for over 50 years. I've been married this coming June, 46 years to my wife. I have 2 kids, 3 grandchildren. I started my career off actually about 89 and 90 as a volunteer fireman, became a fire chief at Buxton. Then around 96, I got into EMS. I stayed with Lake Martin until unfortunately closed the doors. With Roanoke for a little while, then I was able to come back into Dadeville with care, which didn't work out. They left Dadeville. In 2004, we started Tallapoosa EMS. For over 20 years, I was a manager of it. I was a working manager. I didn't sit in the office with a white shirt. I rode the truck day and night, put in a lot of hours. I worked up to 25 employees. I dealt with the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And up till last month was year, there was a change in managers. I still work there, but I work 8 to 4, 5 days a week. I still deal with the public. I enjoy it. And I thought long and hard on running for county commissioner for about a year and a half before I threw my hat in the ring. I've been around talking to a lot of people even longer before we even registered to run for county commissioner. Because there are roads out here that need to be taken care of. People are wanting the roads fixed, like I said, a lot of different things out here. But I've always dealt with the public for going on 34 years now. And by being elected commissioner, I would do the same. I mean, being in EMS is a 24-hour day, 7 days a week. I dealt with problems 2 o'clock in the morning as well as 2 in the afternoon, Sundays, Friday, didn't matter. If I had to get up and get a uniform on, I would come in. A lot of problems does occur at night. We've had some things that happen here we're not proud of, but we work through it. Rod knows what I'm talking about. And matter of fact, a 4th celebration coming up in a couple of days. That was one of the worst nights of my career, but we was able to work through it with a lot of help from the community, different fire departments, different agencies. We had people come in from Opelika, Elmore County, Childersburg, Silicaga, ambulances to help us in our time of need. And like I say, I thought long and hard on running for county commissioner. Like I said, I deal with the public, and I'd like to continue to do it just in another capacity. And like I said, I'll be available 24 hours a day, phone calls, 7 days, it doesn't matter, because that's what I've done for so long. And I would like to continue that.
I'm Robert McCollum. I'm a small business owner here in Tallapoosa County. I've been in Tallapoosa County all my life. I do tree service, roll-off dumpsters, and I have vending machines from Albertville all the way down to Tuskegee, all the way over to the Georgia line. And I'm running for county commissioner because we need to get our roads fixed. We need to get more infrastructure fixed, more economic development fixed. We need to get the problem fixed and established over in Camp Hill. They need to get water system fixed all the way through. They need their roads rebuilt. We need roads rebuilt all over. And that's what I've done all my life, is grading and dirt work. So I know the job, I know what it takes to fix a road and rebuild it properly like it needs to be, and look after and be a watchman over county funds and make sure they're spent and with the best needs and the best services to the taxpayers of this county. Thank you.
My name's Shane West. I grew up in Bluff Park, Alabama, which is a little community about 20 minutes outside of Birmingham. My mom was a school teacher. When my sister grew up, she became a school teacher. My father was the general manager of the Birmingham A's, which is a Southern League baseball club, farm team for the Oakland A's. Where I had my first job, I was a bat boy. I made $1 per game. It was a pretty good job. It was all disposable income. But from that point, I worked around the ballpark for a while until I was old enough at 14 to have a motorcycle, which at that time you could legally ride a motorcycle. That was way before your time. But I was able to get a job doing what I wanted to do. That's a veterinarian. So I would take my motorcycle and go to the veterinary clinic, and I worked there until through high school. I went to Auburn University. I was accepted in 1977. I worked. My father was a hard worker, and he paid for my tuition, and he paid for my books, and he paid for my rent. It didn't leave a whole lot left over for fun. I had $100 for utilities and food and fun. So I did work at restaurants and pet shops, and so what I'm getting at is my entire life I've been a hard-working person. When I graduated from Auburn, well, I guess I'll slow back up. In 1980, I met this girl walking through my trailer park, and she was cute, and so we were married in 1983. We've been married ever since. I think that's 40-something years. And we both graduated from Auburn in 1984. I came back to open a clinic with the guy I cleaned cages for in high school. I eventually bought him out and then built 3 additional clinics. All these clinics we grew to be multi-doctor, most are 4 to 5 doctors in each practice, with 25 plus employees in each practice, in 4 different municipalities, cities, and in 2 different counties. I've played with budgets. Between those clinics, it was in the $8 million range, so I've had to deal with budgets that were significant. I've had to deal with employees that are significant, so I know how to do all that. I have been paying taxes, property taxes in Tallapoosa County for 24 years. We've lived here permanently for 10. I think that not being from here, there are advantages to being from here. Not being from here is also an advantage. I have some life experiences I think that will help me in working with the commission and local governments. And I hope to do that. We love Tallapoosa County. We love Dadeville. I'm growing to love Camp Hill. I'm participating in everything I can participate in this county and in this district of this county and in these 2 cities. And I've met with leaders from everything from principals of high schools, elementary schools, to the sheriff, to right down the line, chief of police in both cities, fire chief. I have yet to find a person that I disliked. The people here are beautiful people. I work with the Dadeville Beautification Board. There's some members here from that. The volunteer spirit in this area take your breath away. It's just amazing. It's what makes this city and this county so great. And I hope to be able to serve that even better as commissioner. Thank you.
So for question number 1, before we get into specific policy, I want to begin with a question about foundational beliefs. I believe that politics is downstream of culture, and culture is shaped by what we believe about God and truth. So the question is, and I'll start actually with Shane, and then we will work our way back this time. Who is Jesus to you?
Jesus Christ is my personal Lord and Savior. I think that's an easy answer. Over my lifetime, I've had doubts like I think everybody else, and I've used my approach to that is to study. I taught Sunday school for 7 years, adult Sunday school class, which is the Bible approach to settle those doubts. I've always had Jesus in my life, and Jesus is my Savior. I'm not going to try to be a better Christian than anybody else, because that's not possible. Nothing is possible, but that's it.
Robert?
Jesus is the Son of God. He came to this world so that we may have eternal life, and He's the reason we're all here tonight. And my faith in God is how I live my everyday life, how I conduct my business, how I try to do people a good job at a fair price and affordable, and I try to base my life off of Jesus Christ.
Dan?
Jesus Christ to me is the one I give thanks to all the time in the job that I have now. Some of the calls we go on, we do the best that we can, but we're only working through the Lord. He has the final say. And a lot of people in here may know it, may not. I'm going on a 7-year cancer-free survival, and I give thanks for that every day. So without Him, it's just unreal to even think He wouldn't be right. You gotta believe in Him, no doubt. And tonight, we was talking about this little mass shooting we had. We had the incident happen that night. If you didn't believe in the good old God, there's something wrong with it, but I know what we've seen out of a patient over there. God laid His hands on her. We're reading she's alive today. You see her on TV giving interviews. Without Him, she would not be here today, I can promise you.
Rob?
Well, who is Jesus to me? Well, He's my Lord. He's my Savior. He's the very breath of air that I breathe every day. He's the light that shines in the skies and leads me on my paths. As a young man, like anybody else here in the South, it wasn't, do you go to church? It's like, what church do you go to? And I came up with a very strict, conservative Church of Christ background. And really and truly, I did not have a freedom of knowing Christ until my adult life, when I finally opened up my heart. And it wasn't about because I had to. It wasn't about because I was told to. It wasn't about because I went through the Sunday school programs. It's because I saw Him move in my life in a way that I knew it was only Him. And I turned to Him, and I submitted to Him. And I've been walking for Him ever since. I get up in the morning, I give praises to Him. I lay down, I give praises to Him. Anytime I get a chance to talk to somebody, hey, if you give me an opportunity to talk to you about Jesus, oh, that's right there. I love that. I love that. The opportunity that I've had to have a barbershop also. I've got them sitting there. I can sit there and tell them all about Jesus while I get the haircut. Most times they're not going to stop me. They're going to sit there and listen to it. So Jesus is my all in all. He's everything to me. He guides me. He leads me. And that's where my fundamentals are, is in His ways.
Thank you, guys. So next question, and we'll start with Robert for you, and then we'll go this around and do a Shane. Many voters are concerned about the size and role of government at the county level. The Alabama Republican Party platform states, "We believe that government should be limited and that the growth of government must be curtailed by a combination of the elimination of programs and transitioning of government jobs to the private sector. We support lower and fair tax models that adequately fund government without undue waste or programs better facilitated by the private sector." So now to the specific question. How do you interpret this principle of limited government in the context of county government? And how would it influence your decisions on spending, services, and taxes in Tallapoosa County? Robert?
By sticking to the essential services needed in the county. instead of wasting money, like for instance, out here on 280 with this ag center, dumping $7 million into it out of the general fund, this eventually in a 5-year time gonna bankrupt the county, because I don't know that many people that have horses that are gonna go out there and put on a show basically for free, and it's gonna eventually bankrupt the county. Instead of using that for out there, we could be using it to fix Camp Hill, get it straightened out financially, get our roads fixed in the county. We could give our sheriff's deputies a pay raise, we could give our teachers a pay raise. It's been long overdue, instead of wasting the money on something that's not gonna benefit taxpayers. And that's how I would look at it if I'm elected county commissioner. What's best for the people of Tallapoosa County?
Danny, you're next.
But then that right there, you know, that you gotta maintain the principle once if you get in there. Oh, I'm sorry. Get in there is, you know, they have budgets that go out, general funds here, this money goes out here, generates different things. So, yeah, you gotta make sure that that money is spent well and correctly, and it's gotta be done right. Now, as far as projects they have, some of it's already going on, which is nothing that either of us up here can do. But now, if elected, get in there and look at the policy, and look and see which way you can go with it, and work with the other commissioners, and see where the money is actually going and dividended to. Because a lot of people in need, like you said, Camp Hill, they in need of money. I met with them and talked with them on their needs. But it's just, you gotta get in there first, as one of us, be an elected official, to be able to do anything. We know where the money needs to be spent. I've spent my time going around. I took off this past Friday. I rode the whole Commissioner District 4, talking to people, seeing it firsthand. I've seen other problems here. Not saying they're not taken care of correctly. It's just that right now I'm hoping to be elected, to get it out and do the best job that I can, to make sure that the money is appropriated right, to the right places.
Well, small government is a wonderful thing. When you got too much government, you got too many people putting their hands out, wanting to put it in their pocket, it seems like. As far as the county spending money on the ag center, I'm a huge ag center advocate. I believe in it. And the $7-8 million it's gonna cost out there would not pave 8 miles of road. It would not fix a couple of bridges. It would not bring Camp Hill out of their water issues. But I do see where over in Clanton, the ag center over there is just, it's amazing. I see in other areas where the ag centers are amazing. We've got some people that are really wanting to host events out there. They're taking and hosting events in Florida. A family right here in Dadeville, they're hosting events in Florida and Georgia that are making multi-million dollars for those events in other towns. And not to mention, those people are gonna get grocery stores here, they're gonna get gas here, they're gonna get their ice here. It's gonna benefit our area, and so it will make money. The failure that I've seen in arenas are the ones like the one down there that Tom Haley had down on 280. It was privately run instead of ran this way. I see it's gonna be a benefit to our area. Hey, I got a kid right now in Washington, D.C., representing the state of Alabama on 4-H. I've been a 4-H volunteer here in Tallapoosa County for 15, 16 years. And I tell you, our children are our future. That's gonna be a great place for our children right there.
Well, county government should perform essential services well and efficiently, and should not branch out into things that are better handled by businesses. And as far as spending goes, and we should get more into this arena, because y'all are wrong about a lot of things. It's not $8 million, it's $4.6 million to start with. It is a big drain, but it is paid for this year. It's in the budget to be paid for. It's not something that's going to be going on. However, to pay for that, it costs us 18% of the entire general fund budget to pay for this arena. I don't think it's a good idea. And I don't want to dwell on it, because that's not exactly the question. I'll get to that later. As to services, you focus on the essential services, the basic services of the county. Of course, we know roads and infrastructure. That's important to us. Safety, the jail, the sheriff's department, that's 42% of the budget. That's pretty important. I think we need to certainly fund that. And essential services are things you can't get away from. Ambulance service, EMS, I know that Danny knows the importance of that. And I know that that's supplemented by the county to the hospital of $240,000 a year. I think that's essential. That's not an ongoing forever thing, but the hospital has to be here. So we have to fund that. To lose the hospital would be a disaster for the small community. Elections, the coroner, there are a lot of things that are essential. Make me quit. But don't go into unnecessary things. And I guess I can sum this up. Do the basics well, live within your means, and put the taxpayer first in every decision. And I think if you just follow those principles, you'll be good.
Thank you. So I will start here with Danny and work our way to Robert, Shane, and then with Rod. So Danny, following up on that last question, voters often want to understand how the philosophy that you just related translates into action. And so can you please give one specific example of a county program, service, or spending area you would reduce, eliminate, or restructure, and explain why?
Like I said, there's a lot of needs for money out here in the county. Like I said, Camp Hill, when I talk with the mayor there, over their water situation, and a lot of different, like I said, I've run those roads for years. Now, ambulance cannot go in there on some of the roads 10 to 15 miles an hour, getting in and getting out, depending. Now, a lot of services are needed there, but you've got to look at it and see what it would actually take. I don't have a number on what it takes paving a road, but I know it's very, very expensive. So it would be just going in, looking at your budget and see what it's got, because like I say, there's probably 5, maybe 6 good roads in Kring. The rest of them, once you get off at the town park, it's pretty much like dirt roads. They need a lot of attention, and that's gonna take a lot of money to do so. See what the county commissioners actually have, I don't know, but like I said, I've just run it to be elected to be one. But I know, like I say, I wrote it, I see where a lot of money could be spent on. But again, I'm just a candidate for that. That's gonna be up to the commissioners in there at this time.
Thank you. Robert?
We have a big problem when Macon County is more well off than we are in Tallapoosa County. You look at Macon County's roads, they're in a lot better shape than ours are here in Tallapoosa County. And that comes down to going back to what I said about the Ag Center, and it was $4.3 million to build it. By the time you factor in all the dirt work that was done for it, the equipment costs, the fuel costs for that equipment, the current county commissioner saying, we're gonna get grants from Auburn University, we're gonna get grants from the state. I haven't seen the first grant. And when there's only 14 million in the general fund to work with, blowing 7 million of it on an Ag Center, in my opinion, is a big problem. And like Danny said up here, a lot of these roads around here need attention. Like I said, that's why I'm asking the question, why is Macon County better off than we are as far as roads are concerned and financially? And a lot of roads need attention. By the time this Ag Center's done, the budget's gonna be so far depleted within 5 years that the county's not gonna have a choice but to cut services because they're gonna go bankrupt. Now, a lot of roads need attention, and how you do that when you don't have money is you pursue grants through the state as far as grants such as the Rebuild Alabama Act, and there are several grants through the Department of Transportation you could apply for. As far as any county road that intersects with a state road, you could receive grants to rebuild them roads. And I think that's what we need to be focused on in the county.
Shane?
Tell me the question again.
Absolutely, you're fine. Please give one specific example of a county program, service, or spending area you would reduce, eliminate, or restructure, and why.
Okay, we can talk about roads later, but and I don't want y'all to get me wrong. I think that the Ag Center was a huge expense and it's an unnecessary expense. I think 18% of our budget is for this 2026 is way over the top. And so if I were to go back, there were ways that could have been done. I've spoken to people, a representative, and some of the ideas were to have a cooperative extension office out there, and it could be a permanent thing an office for them to share some money and share some of the expense. But the way it is, if you were to go out and build a business, and I'll defer to you, but I'll use my own figure, $4.6 million, okay? If you were to say, I'm gonna open this Ag Center, And I think I'm gonna spend $4.6 million on it. I think that's a good investment. So that's principal and interest, that's $33,700, I think it is a month. Somebody do the math for me. $33,000 a month. You have a full-time salaried employee out there. You've got utilities, you've got repairs, you've got maintenance, you've got a whole lot of stuff going on out there that I do not see. And Rod, I know you've got a customer that sits in your chair that's very pro this, because my neighbor was there when he was there. But I don't see it's a benefit for the county. So if I could go back in time, I think I would open this up to public discussion. I think we have not been very transparent in the commission. If y'all go to the commission meetings, you'll see that they say the Pledge of Allegiance, say a prayer, go in executive session, come out and adjourn. You really don't know what's going on, and that needs to change. So I think that, but I think if I were to eliminate one thing, it would be the lack of discussion on this ag center and a discussion of how it could better be funded. Don't use your own money when you don't have to.
And one with you, Rod.
Eliminate or cut back, the sheriff's department's needed, roads are needed, hospitals needed. So we've got people in those positions. We've got some wonderful people in our county with the hospital. Hospitals, we got a great thing going out there. I remember a few years back, the hospital was just about to close down. We've been blessed with that ambulance service. We almost lost that. It's strong. We got an incredible sheriff's department. And the micromanaging, take money away from the sheriff's department wouldn't be good, because it takes so much to run the sheriff's department. Just to buy a new vehicle for a deputy is $55,000. Salaries, we are the lowest paid salaries for law enforcement in the area. We lose deputies all the time to Lee County. They come up here and they love picking Jimmy Abbott's deputies out, but hey, we'll hire you up. So the thing is, micromanage, and what will we cut back on? Well, same as Danny, I'm not up there to know fully what is going on, because they haven't been transparent with us. I've been at those meetings for the past year, and as you're sitting in the meeting, you see the little small section, and they go into executive meeting. You're there also. And so, how to micromanage? Well, first of all, we need to know what we're managing too.
Okay, thank you, guys. So the next question, and we'll start with Shane and work our way left. Property taxes are a primary funding source for county government, but they are also one of the most debated taxes among voters. I can speak personally, I do not like paying property taxes. So the question is, if it were possible to fully fund the core functions of county government, such as roads, law enforcement, and essential services, without relying on property taxes, would you support completely eliminating property taxes? Why or why not?
Yeah, sure, that's an easy answer. Sure, I would. I'd also like to be 27 again, like Lane here, but I don't think it's possible. Total ad valorem of property taxes that Tallapoosa County collects is about $30.8 million. So you're gonna come up with $30.8 million somewhere. It's not gonna be just that we don't need it. $12.8 million goes to our schools. It has nothing to do with the county taxes for what we're talking about as county commissioners. We don't have any control over that. That's $12.8 million. The county, we get about $7 to $8.1 million, 5.7 funds the general fund, and 2.5 million goes to road and bridge. We keep talking about roads. Of the taxes that we're talking about, property taxes, $2.5 million is not the biggest part of how we get our money for roads. I don't think that there are many people that have downloaded the last 3 years of the budget like I have and studied it, nor have they looked at what a commissioner, this is the handbook for an Alabama commissioner. It's 255 pages. I dare any of y'all to tell me to read a page of this thing. But the municipalities get 4% of that, or 4 million. The state gets 5.9 million. That's a lot of hands in the pot for property taxes. And yes, I would eliminate them if you can come up with a way to provide that money without property taxes. But I do not believe that. I've heard what you've talked about doing, and I don't think that's a viable choice. Sorry.
Robert?
I think it is a viable choice because, and I'll explain the plan, is restructure it in the county. First of all, it's not something the county commission can do. It would have to be something that would be enacted by the Alabama legislature. So if I'm elected, don't come to me and say, well, you promised you'd eliminate our property taxes. Because what I would like to see is a new plan put in place. You pay your first 10 years of property taxes at closing, and that's it. Now, for all current property owners, you would do a 5-year phase-out plan that would decrease by 20% a year till it's completely gone. Main course of property taxes, as far as grocery taxes and other taxes, goes to fund schools and different stuff, like you said, Shane. Now, you look at our school system on the State Board of Education website, we're barely at the 60% marker on academic achievement. That's a problem for our schools. Obviously, something's not being done right, and I believe it falls to the Board of Education, and it's a fault on their part, and that needs to be addressed, and the county commission can address it, because the county commission controls the budgets for all these departments.
Danny?
Also, the county commissioners do control all of that, but there's, a lot of people out here that I've talked to seem to think county commissioners handle everything in the county, which they do not. So, the property tax is one thing we all pay, we pay taxes on everything. And it is needed to a certain point, but you gotta have money to operate on. And like I said, if you cut it out, you gotta come up with another way of getting that money. And also getting back to the roads that people are talking about. Now you can go and complain to your commissioners all you want to, but it is up to the engineer. He is the one that has to make the decision. He goes out each year, I talk with the man, he gets a grant for east section 1 year to pave that, then he goes north, then he goes east, he goes west. It rolls around every 4 years to each district. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's for, if you go in that way, it's, if they start out in District 1, then the next year or 2, or whatever it's at. But it is up to the engineer to come up with the money for the commissioners to go out here and spend the money fixing the roads, which we know there's a lot of them out here that need to be fixed. And it need to be, like I said, it needs to be fixed properly. I've rode, I've got phone calls on it, like I told them, I'm not a commissioner. Well, you need to come look at it. So I go look at it. I ride these roads a lot. Like I said, I live out in the country half, pretty much all my life. But the taxes are needed to a certain point, but like I say, if you cut them out, you gotta find another way to come up with that money to have the infrastructure you need to be able to fix this.
No property taxes, man, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? That'd be just, man, gas $1 a gallon too. Ooh, groceries, get a steak for less than $4, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? But truth of the matter is, we have to have property taxes. We are actually really blessed in Alabama that our property taxes ain't exaggerated like they are in Florida, Georgia, and other places. We actually have pretty low property taxes in the state of Alabama. And so when I see what other people pay in other states, I don't complain about my property tax one bit. Yes, do we have tax on groceries? Do we have tax on medicine? Yes, some states don't have that. But how would you do away with property taxes and make it up? Yes, there's the thing of doing it on the sale, and then all of a sudden the price of the house will be exaggerated where somebody says, well, I can't afford this right here. So yeah, it's an evil that you have to have, basically. Property taxes are something they're there. You're going to have them to keep everything up. Do I like paying them? Not one bit. But I do gladly, and I'm thankful that they're not as high as over in Georgia and over in Florida also. As far as the roads, that horse keeps getting kicked all down the road. I've been on some roads, and I'm never going to complain about my road again. I've been on some roads down in Camp Hill, up in Buxton. I've been on roads down here, your road. I've been on roads out here with multi-million-dollar houses that your road, which is a dirt road, is nicer than. So it's an issue not just in the poor communities, it's the whole community all over. And it's expensive to pave a road. To do asphalt is like $1 million a mile. The tar and gravel is a cheaper way, but it has to be thicker.
Okay, thank you. So we'll start with Rod this time and work our way left. And so roads have been coming up a lot. And so this question is about roads specifically. So road maintenance is one of the most visible and perhaps costly responsibilities of county government. And resources are always limited. So the question is, when funds are limited, how would you prioritize which roads get repaired or improved? And I know the county engineer does make the final decision, but we know that does not happen in a vacuum of influence. And the question is, and what specific criteria would you use to help make those decisions?
Where's the biggest donor at? That's a joke, okay? Anyways, where would you prioritize it? First of all, it'd be for concerns and safety for getting fire and medic in there. It'd be a situation to keeping the area safe, to able to help people and be there to do this best good. The engineer handles most of it, like you said. There are several roads that I've seen out there that, okay, this is a bad road, but it's not a highly traveled road. There's been roads I've been on that I rode on the left-hand side of the road, not because I'm from Europe, but because that's the one side of the road that was left. So, you know, the higher traffic area roads would be ones that you'd look at, and those are just detrimental to safety, to the hospitals, to getting people to care facilities they need to be in.
One thing on the roads, now, like I said, it's got to be done, and I'm also, you know, prioritizing. It's 50-50 over there. Now, I've had people tell me, oh, one of the roads that's been a thorn in everybody's side, even myself as an ambulance, manager of the ambulance service. Ambulance went off in the ditch one night, we got back out, sheriff's office. I've been deputies went in the ditch. Unfortunately, his wife passed away, but it's not due to the fact, you know, they got to him, done the best they could, the road was tore all to pieces. And when somebody looked at it, one of them said, oh, don't worry about that, about 7 or 8 votes on that road to start with. You cannot treat the public that way. If it's one person that lives at the end of that road, they need to be treated just like if they was 50. Now, a lot of people look at it, well, you know, we gotta maintain the lake area, you know, the nice homes, and I understand that. They worked hard all their life to have what they got, but you cannot prioritize just because this one got a bank account and this one don't. And trust me, the job I've done 30-something years, I know the people that we go out and pick up. I know they live month to month. They got to decide this month they want to buy medicine, they want to eat, pay the bills, whatever. So prioritizing roads out here, yeah, there's a need for it, but there's a better way to look at it. Just say, well, I got 4 roads over here, I got 10 here, and I got these nice homes down here. So how would you treat that? Because they really don't have a lot, or this one does. You gotta treat the necessary of the road, make sure, like Rod said, to get EMS, fire, and you to your house. So it would just be, it'd be a hard decision, but you cannot please everybody. You're not gonna make everybody happy. We all know this is politics. I guess these 3 right here learned it as well as I have. It's a different world, but I'm honest.
Sorry, Robert?
The current county commission has a great system in place to oversee their roads, but like, say, Denver Road up near your way, it is in horrible shape. The county's had motor graders sitting up there for a while and they've done nothing to fix it. I was told by a resident up there that they have to drive their kids to a different route because the school bus cannot even properly get down that road. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Danny, you live up that way.
I know the person you're talking about.
Yes, sir. It's in really bad shape. It needs to be addressed. And like I said, in my opinion, the county don't have the money to address these roads like they need to be addressed. So what you do is you start pursuing grants to fix these roads that need to be addressed. And as far as property taxes are concerned, I mean, I guess we have low power bills too, but we all know that's not the case.
Shane?
Okay. Roads are a problem, I suppose. There's certainly, we all want nice roads. I have a friend who has a house in Sandy Creek. That house, it appraised for $160,000. It's a little cabin, and it's expensive on the lake, $160,000. He had another house in Peachtree City, $160,000. His taxes here were $1,500. His taxes there were $8,000. You go to Peachtree City, they got great roads. They've got great infrastructure. We don't have a lot of money here. We've got 734 miles of paved roads. We've got 285 miles of unpaved. We have 84 bridges, and that doesn't even talk about the right-of-ways that are maintained by our government. I think Joseph Moncrief does an excellent job. He already evaluates the need because we're short on money as it is. He takes what he finds and he uses, like we were all saying, you want safety first. You definitely want safety first. If you have roads going to a business, that's prioritized because they're bringing in taxes and businesses have to function. But most of this money is not coming out of property tax. $2.5 million is, most of it's gas tax. There's 7 cents a gallon going to general fund. Now that they can do just about anything that they want to with. That's not a lot, because it cost actually $200,000 per mile for a road. So that $2.5 million that you get from the road and bridge fund, 7% of property tax, is a what is that, 12 miles? Is that right? That's 12 miles of road. That doesn't include a lot of things like some of the grading. You know about the grading. That's all very expensive. $200,000 a mile is a lot. How would you prioritize that? The other ones are very specific. Resurfacing, restoration, and rehab. That's about $800,000 a year they get. Secondary road fund, about $400,000 a year. You already stopping me. Craft, the Rebuild Alabama funds is $1 million a year. Prioritizing how you use those, I think they're doing a pretty good job of it already. It's presented, he takes the worst of it, presents to the commissioners, and they make the final decision. But commissioners don't say, go pave this road. That's not how that works.
So for this time, we'll start with Robert, work our way right, and with Danny. So the question is about economic development. The Alabama Republican Party platform emphasizes limited government and reducing unnecessary intervention. Do you believe county government should play an active role in guiding economic development, such as recruiting businesses, offering incentives, or shaping growth? Or should it take a more hands-off approach and let the free market decide?
I believe it should take a more hands-on approach, but we have to be smart about it. We, like, say, take Camp Hill, for instance. They're dying as a town over there, and I believe we, as Tallapoosa County as a whole, are better if Camp Hill is succeeding. They cannot fully fund their town properly because they'd have no businesses over there paying any taxes. In my opinion, the county commission should step in and offer incentives to get more businesses brought in, not just to Camp Hill, to Dadeville, to all cities in the county, and provide support for businesses and people in the community.
Thank you. Shane?
Well, I think the county should have a limited strategic role. I don't think that they should have a heavy-handed approach, but I think they should be there to guide. I don't think unrestricted growth is what we all want. I think you don't want a strip club next to the Baptist church. We don't want a massive project going in where it hurts the local residents. And speaking of Margaritaville, I think that's a mistake. I think that's off the table now. I think it's already in the works. We can't do much about it. But I think that tax incentives for such projects that are not discussed with the public, it goes back to the whole thing of we need to have an open government. We need to have participation by our citizens to decide how the economic development is going to happen. But certainly I think the county has a role in that. They don't have the heavy-handed, I'm in charge of everything. I think business should drive that, but it has to be guided by the county, and it has to be something the taxpayers want.
Okay. Rod?
Yes, the county needs to have a role in development. We have Highway 280 out here. You go to Highway 280, 7 o'clock in the morning, and 62 county tags are going out of our county every day to work. They're going to Birmingham, they're going to Auburn. You go out here on 49, they're going to Montgomery. We've got people that are going to other areas to find jobs that pay well enough so they can live here. The industry that we've had here so far has not been cutting it for our residents, really. Matter of fact, in the afternoons when I'm coming in, it's the same time that those plants are shutting down, and they've got Coosa County tags on most of the cars leaving those plants over there. So we need to find a way to have more industry here that's going to benefit our area, have structured growth in a way. This area is going to change drastically as the west side of the lake is building mega mansions. It's coming this way. As you go down here to Jackson Road, you go down here south of the county, we've got people coming this way out of Auburn nonstop because Well, they're wanting to get out of Auburn. Auburn's gotten too crowded. So we're gonna have a growth of citizens big time in the next 5 to 10 years. And so we've gotta have a way to, one, provide for them, and also hope they have a career here, and a career for our children also in the future. So you have to have county influence in that, so you have a structured growth, and you have a determined idea what to do.
Danny?
Yes, the county commission needs to, have some input on some of that. Now, some of y'all sitting out here may remember, now, at one time, Davil was a booming city. With the bypass in, it went to nothing. But now, in the last 5 to 6 years, tremendous growth, and it's still growing. But yes, like Rod said, people are moving in closer and closer to Davil. They can't feel these times, and you need that. You gotta have good jobs here to keep people from going to other places. But it is small, and we only have, like a hospital, EMS, Fox changed the name, I can't remember, CG, and a lot of different CG are not even here. So yeah, you gotta have an infrastructure here for Davil, but it's gonna take a lot of growth to get the right people in here to get it built. So now we do have, talked with Mayor Ledbetter, Mayor Little since he went in, to see his input on it, but it's gonna take a lot to keep the people from going out of town. I used to travel out of town before I got to EMS, because the pay was better. Bigger hospitals is gonna pay more, but the hospital we got now pays good for it being a community hospital. The ambulance service pays good to be a small rural community ambulance service. Because even in the ambulance, we cover 75% of this county with 2 trucks. So, yeah, we'd like to have the infrastructure to make Davil grow, more tax money coming in, to keep the people here in Davil. We don't have any major shopping centers, we have more of what we did have. And we need a lot more coming into Davil to keep the people here and the taxes coming.
Thank you. Okay, so that's all the questions that I have. If anyone from here would like to step forward, we can discuss for your questions.
Me or no?
You can go first if you'd like. And if anyone else would like to step forward, feel free to.
With that last question, a lot of the answers seem to have a theme of, hey, we need more things here. We need to build it up. We need more money for this. We need more money for that. What I've heard in the past of this meeting, I heard that we spent $4.6 million in the Ag Center. I've now heard we're spending a ton of money on the Margaritaville. And, at the end of the day, one, do you guys know why that didn't go towards our roads that we are maybe complaining about, since that's such a hot topic? Number two, if we make this city a big city like Birmingham, then why didn't I just move to Birmingham? I moved here for a reason. If I wanted to live in a big city, I would have moved to a big city. So I think that if we're trying to focus on making this like Auburn or Birmingham, I'll just leave now. Like that's what it sounds like is coming from the board. It sounds like you guys are very worried about that. So I'm just concerned. Do you all have any rebuttal for that?
And we will give a chance for everyone. We'll start with Danny and work our way left.
We're trying to make it sound like another Birmingham or Montgomery, just you need more infrastructure here to keep the people that work here in town instead of having to go to bigger towns to make more money. No, we don't want to see it look like Birmingham or nothing like that. But like I say, it does need a few more things here where you wouldn't have to travel to Auburn or Elliott City or Montgomery for that time. I'd like to see a shopping center come here one day. We all would. We need something like that. But right now, for us to go out shopping, you gotta go to Walmart, Elliott City, or Opelika, or somewhere like that. We need something that's a little bigger here in Davil that would address some of the problems. Not saying make it a bigger city. I like Birmingham. No, I would not like to see that city.
Rod?
Yeah, I don't think we'll become Birmingham or Auburn, but we are having growth. We are having growth because people want this quiet country life also. They're buying the 5-acre farms and things, and we do need work here. We need jobs here. Your little girls, they're gonna grow up one day. You'd like to have them close to home with you and not have to take a job somewhere way off. So with that, you have to, like we asked earlier, you have to have some incentives sometimes to get good jobs here. different facilities, different factories, different things. For so many years, we depended on the cotton mills. And the cotton mills, you didn't get rich in the cotton mill by no means. But I know a lot of folks that grew up in cotton mill life. My father was one of them. And they had an honest life, they had an honorable life, and they tell you they wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm not saying we need another cotton mill here, but we do need industry here that's going to help. We've got GE Aerospace there in Auburn, something like that here to help the area out with that.
Shane?
Yeah, I think that certainly, we don't want this to turn into any kind of a big city. I think that Dadeville's a quaint and beautiful place full of wonderful people, and I don't want it to become an impersonal city. I think that would be the disaster for all of us. I think that we do have to grow, but do we have to grow with big businesses? I know Chuck pretty well. Chuck and I talk frequently. Met with him yesterday again, but his idea for growth in Dadeville is, yes, we'd like to have bigger stores, places where people can have Publix or that kind of thing. You're not going to out of the city for everything. He doesn't want it in Dadeville. He wants it on the 284 bill. He said, let's keep that out there and keep Dadeville. So I think that's a good plan for Dadeville. Also, if you're going to have grants, and I know that grants is getting money that's from somebody else to do something you want to do, basically, is what that's about. You can't get grants now in Dadeville very easily because of our population size. We've been losing population since 1990. Not drastically, but we're not big. So we need to grow that population. Well, how do you do that? The very simple way of doing that, and Chuck is very much for this, is annexation. I know that Sandy Creek put forth a plan to annex. We worked for a year and a half. I was a chairman of that committee. It was voted by the city council to, yes, let's go through with annexation. Then it was shot down by the work of the commissioners. And I can get into that with you. If anybody wants individual talk, I can talk forever on that one. That was a disaster. But if we can grow the county through annexation, if we can still get the people in Sandy Creek and Minoy Creek excited about being annexed again, if we can, may have been a once in a lifetime thing. I don't think so. I think we have a chance to do that. Then we grow a population that we can get grants. We can't get a grant with 8,000. We may be able to get a grant with 10,000 people.
Thank you. Robert?
Well, obviously, like you said, I don't want this to become a Birmingham, Huntsville, or Montgomery, Tuscaloosa. That's just miserable cities to drive in, miserable cities to live in. But obviously, if a county doesn't grow, it dies. Look at, say, Shorter, for instance, on the verge of near death. And the only thing that saved it was Victory Land. And I don't want that to be what happens for Tallapoosa County. Obviously, we need a lot more restaurants. We need more businesses so people don't have to drive far off for work and put wear and tear on their vehicle. And at $4 to $6 a gallon, depending on what kind of vehicle you drive, that adds up at the pump.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience?
I have two. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Maybe just start with one.
Yeah, let's keep it simple.
I'll start with one. First of all, I'd like to know, I have done a lot of research on all of you, and I have found out some very impressive things, and I found out some things that I kind of wish I didn't know, but they're there. What I want to know is, do you own property yourself in Tallapoosa County? And do you pay property taxes on the property that you yourself own, not a family member?
Okay, we'll stop right there. Rob, work our way right.
Well, if you go and look at the county record, I think there's 3 pieces of property that are in mine and my wife's name that we pay taxes on, along with multiple vehicles that we have the tags on also. So yes, we're rooted here.
Yes, I own my place and we pay taxes to.
I currently reside right here. My tag on my truck has a 62 tag on it. Now, my other truck has a Elmore County tag on it because when I bought the vehicle from the guy, I didn't go through a bank. I didn't go through any of the others. I financed the truck individually through him. So therefore, the tag is still Elmore County because the truck is in his name till I pay the loan off to him.
My question was not where you was, can I go
Did
ahead?
you want to clarify your question, or is this a new question?
No, I just want to
Clarify.
clarify.
Okay, go ahead.
My question was, do you own
No, I
yourself
don't.
property in Tallapoosa County? And do you pay property taxes on the property that you yourself own in this county?
No, I don't to both questions.
Okay, thank you,
Shane?
I do, 24 years, I pay property taxes. Yes.
thank you. I want to know what each of your opinion is on bringing gambling into Tallapoosa County as a revenue source.
We'll start with Shane, we're already left.
Well, okay, where I don't really have a huge problem with other people gambling, I do not like gambling. I do not like the idea of having gambling in this town. There's a lot of gambling that goes on in this town that you probably don't know about. There are poker games all over town. As far as organized legal gambling, absolutely not. I'm completely against it.
I think we should. If you, like I said, you look in Shorter, Alabama, $164 million worth of revenue in the first year. That pays a lot of roads. And I'm a Republican and I'm a conservative. And I think as a country, we were founded on freedom of choice. No one holds a gun to anybody's head and makes them go into a casino. They do that at their own free will. Now, it's up to them whether they want to set foot in that facility. Now, I like to gamble. I like to play cards. Be pretty honest about that. Most people here obviously know that. I don't want somebody to tell me how I can and how I can't spend my money. Because if you like to gamble, or if someone's very addicted to it, you're going to find a way to do it, whether you go to Georgia, whether you go to Mississippi, Florida, Tennessee, and we should be bringing that revenue here to the county to do some much needed stuff.
Once again, that was not my question. My question is, do you approve of bringing in casinos and gambling businesses as a way of revenue?
Yes.
Thank you.
Danny?
Well, before gambling gets to Dadeville with Tallapoosa County, as you know as well as I do, that's gonna come out of Montgomery. They've been trying to get a bill up each term and never got off the ground. And when I look at it, now he was talking about there's a lot of gambling going on, I don't know that. You know, I believe what I do personally is mine. That needs to be voted on by the people, put on the ballot. If you either like it or you don't, that way you got an honest deal. It's either voted in or it's voted down.
Once again, that was not my concern. My concern is I want to know if you support bringing in gambling casinos and businesses in this county to provide revenue. But
Not just for
I'm not
revenue.
judging anybody who gambles. That's not my point. I just want to know the answer to that.
No, ma'am, I don't. It's small,
Thank you.
second place, and there's other ways to come up with money to generate taxes.
Rod?
No, point blank, no. Go back to the biblical stance. What profit a man to gain the whole world only to lose his soul? And casinos are soulless places, and they disrupt families, they disrupt homes, they wreck people's lives because they don't care about that person. All they care about is, are they making money? Watching National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation years ago, Chevy Chase, and cousin Eddie, he says, this place wasn't built on pretty boys like him. It was built on guys like you losing your money. And that's what it would be. The one that's going to profit the most will be the casinos.
I do want to end with one more comment.
You have one more question?
If that's okay. It's
Okay.
not a question, it's a comment. I listen very closely. I am a committed Christian and I follow Christ in everything that I do. And if I don't, I immediately ask his forgiveness. I live by the Bible, I live by scripture. Some of you I have met on my front porch and I have prayed for you and with you, and it was a true blessing to be able to do that. However, by looking at some of the things on Facebook and social media, some of the language that was used is just completely offensive to me, and there's no excuse for it whatsoever, in my opinion, especially for somebody who would be making decisions for our county and for the residents who live here. And I commend the people who do follow Christ and who watch your language. That's very important when I vote. Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? We have time for two more.
got two real easy questions for y'all. And I know they're probably not high priority to anybody, but they are to me. The employees that work in the courthouse saturate the parking spaces all around the square, and the litter in our county. What have y'all got to think about addressing those two issues?
I'll start with Danny, work our way left.
Now, on the parking, you know, they just put in the new one right there where the big house was on the corner.
They do not use it.
That's what I'm saying. They turned that into a parking lot, you know, you got that out there by the First Baptist Church.
They do not use it. You pull up there in the morning at 7 o'clock, you see old ladies, they walk in, they park right straight across or either right in front of the courthouse, walk in, and I'm sure there's not a one of them that another 50 steps wouldn't hurt, you know, if they, you know, I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying.
To be honest with you, Mickey, I didn't know that, I know, you can tell when it's court day, you can't find it on the parking day.
Well, that's the thing, you know, people come up to buy the tags, go to court, and then, you know, so.
There you go, like I said, parking is an issue, and, you know, the way we got squared now, it was, I mean, that would be just an issue you have to look at and see what could work out a compromise to get the employees to park somewhere else without having to walk all over town themselves, because they work. But I know it's open for the public to come in, like I say, to pay the taxes, to buy the tags, which we need. It'd just be a situation we'd have to look at and see if we could come up with a better solution than what we have now.
Rod.
Yes, parking needs to be addressed. It is when you take somebody, my 80-year-old mother, she has to go up to the courthouse and get tags or do a business license or whatever it may be. She's in pretty good physical shape, but what if she's not? What if the time comes where she has to use a walker or a cane? Now I'm not saying I'm going to leave my mother to do that on her own. I'm going to do that, help her as much as possible. But yes, they need to open up the parking around the courthouse for the people doing business in the courthouse. And as far as trash, Mickey, quit throwing trash out everywhere, man. I see you clean it up all the time, so I'm giving you a hard time out there. We need to start focusing on writing fines for throwing trash out. People ride down the road and they freely just throw a can out, throw whatever out. I pick up the trash on our road daily, and you know we live on a dead end road, but I'm walking every day. As I'm walking, I'm picking up trash. I know one time it took us 3 weekends to clean up the trash around Smith Mountain itself and take it to our family's businesses' dumpsters and dumps them. And we had a pile of rubbish, a burnable rubbish, that was probably, I don't know, 40 by 40 that we sat there with a tractor and burned for a whole weekend and pushed up. So yes, we need to focus on keeping our roads clean also.
Shane.
Parking around the courthouse, you should have employee parking for the court employees, and that should be away from the square. So, yeah, I think that should be designated and it should be required. Trash is a problem. I live in Rod's neighborhood. I do walk 2 miles every morning with my dogs, and it's even if I don't want to, my dogs do. And I do pick up trash. It mainly comes from people that I think every bit of it comes from people that don't live there, that work in that neighborhood. I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did, but everybody's got to do their part or it's just going to build up. And I've gotten tons of trash out of there. Usually beer cans, beer bottles. I guess you're leaving the work site, you know, just throwing them out. And we just can't wait for Margaritaville to be down there at the end of Young's Ferry where they throw all the trash out as they leave. I can see 189 slots of motorhomes coming down that thing and 100 employees coming up and down. You think it's bad now, but yeah, there are problems.
Parking is a problem around the courthouse. I know I went up there just last week and couldn't find a parking place, but I don't mind walking the extra 50 steps. Now, you take somebody that's elderly that can't park and has to walk them extra 50 steps, what if they were to fall on the way? We need to have more designated parking, and it needs to be required and enforced that the county employees have to park there. And as far as trash, I know you, beautification board, y'all do a great job of cleaning up, but y'all can only do so much. Yes, there needs to be some sort of fine imposed for littering, or a community service as far as catch somebody littering, they have to come clean up the town for a day.
Thank you.
Last question.
For the citizens of District 4, a hot item is Margaritaville. I'm gonna ask, what is your view about Margaritaville? And then more specifically, if you are elected, what will you do to promote Margaritaville, or what would you do to oppose Margaritaville?
And we'll start with Robert, work our way back to Danny.
To be honest with you, sir, I have no opinion on Margaritaville because as a county commissioner, the county commissioner has no say-so whatsoever. As long as the business is complying with county guidelines, zoning ordinances, really Alabama Power has more say-so than the county commission does. And I don't think Alabama Power is gonna do much because they want the revenue. But as far as the county commissioner, I would have no opinion on it whatsoever because it's a private development.
Shane?
Yeah, I have an opinion on Margaritaville. I think it's a horrible thing. I think it's horrible for the people of Dadeville. I've talked to many of Dadeville leaders. I've talked to many people in Dadeville. I've yet found, but I think one person that likes Margaritaville so far. Of the lake people, they're zero. I think we did a survey of our 700 members of the HOA, and it was 97%. I think that's right, 97% against. What can the commission do? What can I do as commissioner? This is already in the works. They set up an improvement district which allowed them to solicit funds to start their infrastructure. I wouldn't take office until 2 weeks, according to this handbook, 2 weeks after the final election, if I were to win the primary and win against Kevin. What can I do at that point? I'm not sure. The only influence I think I could have is to make sure in all my power that they did not have any tax incentives that make it easier for them. Because I definitely do not want to make it easier for them. Now, that's my opinion. If I'm an elected official, I'm an elected official by the people of District 4. If the people in District 4 want it, then I'm not going to oppose it. They overwhelmingly do not want it, and a big problem with Margaritaville has been a lack of citizen participation. We initially tried to get the commission to engage us in a meeting to discuss Margaritaville. Had the citizen input. There are a lot of smart people in Dadeville. There are a lot of smart people out there on the lake, and we can see problems. We can see problems with infrastructure. We can see problems with the road, single road going out there. The water supply out there. We can see problems with the potential pollution of our lake and runoff and all these leaky sewage from these motorhomes and the 80-room hotel. I think it's a horrible thing, but what can I do about it? Maybe I'll learn more about what I can do to resist it, but right now, I think fighting tax incentives is probably my best ammunition.
My opinion on Margaritaville, well, it really doesn't matter much about my opinion on that because I would like to go back to the 80s where I come in a 14-foot fishing boat and not get run over, but we're not in the 80s no more. Here we are, we're growing, we're going in a different direction. The person bought the 59 acres, it was not zoned against them doing that, so am I excited about it? I can't say I'm excited about it, but what can I do to change it? Well, I can't change it because one, it'd take a 3-member vote of the commission to do it, and you're not gonna get that probably, but also you just make sure that they're in compliance. You make sure that their sewage is taken care of. You make sure that they're getting their taxes paid. You making sure that they're being policed and everything. You make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. From my understanding, I think you're not going to be allowed to be in there if you have a motorhome over 10 years old. So mostly it's going to be people who have $200,000 and $300,000 motorhomes, and they're not leaking sewage or throwing trash up down the road usually. They're usually pretty. I've been a camper myself for many years. We have a travel trailer. We've been all over the southeast, and man, we complied. We didn't throw trash out. Actually, campers are actually pretty conservative people when it comes to rubbish and things like that.
Dan?
Like I said here earlier, I believe I understood him right. Pretty much Margaritaville is a done deal. There's nothing that either one of us could do now. Like I say, we're running to get in. If get in, like I say, I would have to back the voters of District 4. That's what I'm running for, to serve y'all. Now, right now, what I see in here, this is on the commissioners that's already in there. I don't know if there's anything that we could do if we had to get elected to get in there. Like Rod said, it takes 3 to make the member there. So, no, whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. I think there's a
Well,
follow.
I just have one more question. So if it takes 3 votes from the county commissioners to overturn this. We know what the balance is of people in District 4 for a no. Has there been any temperature taken for the other districts? I mean, if they're also at 96 or 97% approved, is there any way from a grassroots way to force those other commissioners to overturn this thing? I mean, it hasn't gone through yet. The ground hasn't broken. We just drove past it.
Since this is kind of a more of a statistics question, does anyone want to weigh in? Or Shane want to start? Anyone can weigh in. We'll start with Shane and then work our way, I guess, that way.
We want to talk about 3 commissioners. Well, to begin with, you have to have somebody that can work with the other commissioners and get 2 on your side. But 3 commissioners doesn't stop Margaritaville. It's not something that they can shut down. At this point, we don't have regulations and restrictions. A lot of Tallapoosa County is unrestricted. They can do whatever they want to do. And that's a really dangerous thing when you're talking about a beautiful lake like Lake Martin. They are subject to ADM, and ADM is our best hope that they will not give the permits for sewage. They won't give the stormwater permits. But as far as, is it a done deal? No, it's not a done deal. The way it's fought right now is through litigation. And we hope that we have litigators that can keep that a problem for them for years.
Do you want to comment on Robert?
As far as having enough votes to overturn it, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Shane, Imogene Tweed, I think she voted present on the issue. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Imogene was instrumental in shutting down annexation, which would have stopped it. But I don't know about Imogene, because I talked to Imogene and I get one-word answers. So.
Right. Now, I don't believe, if you look, you got 3 more commissioners, and most of them, except for one, don't have, looking at it from a political standpoint, do not have opponents. So there is really, in my opinion, no way they would have any incentive to overturn it. As far as District 4, like Shane said, we're just 1 vote of 5 commissioners. So I don't think there would be any way to overturn it.
Dan?
Same way I think, like I say, what I'm understanding, what little bit I know on it, like I don't live over the lake, don't have a cabin over right there. That what I understood, it was a private sale. So like, I go to Rod, he's got 50 acres, I buy it from him. So when you buy from another person, that is your land to do with what you see for.
But wasn't it rezoned?
No.
I think they were trying to get it rezoned, but like I say, if you buy land from me, that is your land to do with what you see fit.
As long as it's unrestricted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Unrestricted.
Right.
Rob?
Like I said, it's that person's land, and they have the right to build that if they want to. The thing about it is, they wanted to build a 120-unit condo out there. They could do that because it's their land and it's not zoned against it. And the commission has no power to stop it. What the commission does have power to do is to make sure that they stay in compliance with everything. They got to make sure they're doing the right thing. Make sure the sewage is taken care of. Make sure everything's kept up. Make sure they ain't a drunken disorderly issue going on out there. But like I said, the commission, they couldn't stop it if this person wants it. They can't stop it.
Can I follow up on this? It's about communication. It's all about communication. If the commission didn't hide in private and make these decisions with developers, and they shared it with the public, with the residents that are affected by this, I think a lot of this could have been resolved. But the way it is now on the books, it's a horrible thing. It may not end up being a horrible thing.
Go ahead.
Shane, I do agree with you 100% on communication. That's why I ran for the Public Service Commission in 2022 and 2024. They was not communicating at all, just jacking our power rates up through the roof. And obviously I didn't win because Alabama Power didn't like the idea of an open rate agreement.
Any other comments to that? Rod, did you want to weigh in?
Transparency. That's a big issue right there. 30+ years ago there in the barber shop, I asked a commissioner at the time as I was cutting his hair, I said, listen, I live down here on the lake, and I'm the only full-time resident. The others are part-time. They live somewhere else. They pay a full tax bill. I get a homestead exemption, which is a little bit less. But look around the lake here, and there's all these houses around the lake that people aren't living at. They're living somewhere else, and the tax revenue is coming off of them. I asked that commissioner, I said, where's that revenue going to? Where's it going to in our county? He looked at me, he said, well, that's a question for the superintendent of education. I said, really? I said, okay, so next time superintendent of education was in my shop, I asked him the same question. You know what he said? That's a question for our commissioner. So here 30 plus years later, I'm still trying to get that answer to that question. While we got all these lake houses around here that people are paying big taxes on, we got more, we should have more revenue than Coosa County, than Clay County because of this 42,000 acres behind us over here.
Okay, thank you. So let's go to closing comments. We'll start with Rod and work our way across.
God bless. Hope we answered some of y'all's questions. You might like some of us more, you might hate some of us more, but hey, I'm just here for y'all. I'm going to be transparent as I can. I'll be honest. I'll be straightforward, and my door will be open.
Danny?
I'd like to tell everybody, thanks for putting up with us, listening to us. We liked your questions. I hope we were able to answer in the way you want.
Certainly enjoyed this. Thank you for the questions. James, thank you for putting this on and getting this together. The election for county commissioner comes down to whether it doesn't come down to really friendship. It comes down to who's more qualified to do the job, who has the background to be able to do the job. And if you want to vote for that, you should vote for me. I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Shane?
I just appreciate everybody being here, and I appreciate everybody behaving in a very good manner out here. It was a professional debate of sorts. But yeah, vote for me. I'm the best. Right? But if you have questions individually, I have flyers out there with my telephone number on them, and many of you already have my telephone number. But you can call me, and it has my email on it too. You can email me. I'm glad to answer. I'm getting pretty good at this budget thing now, so I kind of know what's going on.
Okay, let's give a round of applause. Thank you all for coming tonight on Eagle Forum-Dadeville. We try to meet every month. We will have another meeting on May 18th where we'll have Terry LaPointe, who's running for U.S. Congress. Thank you all. Good night.